first one is the letter Alef, which looks like our letter A, and I'll be using the capital in this case. So from the inside, the left arm comes at me. I'm going to angle down left to right on the hand. I'm going to move in, and I'm going to horizontal cut to the arm, trying to get the inside of the funny bone if I can. And then I want to, depending on whether his arm, if his arm comes out far enough, I want to thrust up into the armpit. If it stays in, I can still thrust into the arm, and then I'm going to break down on that same angle. So the right side of the Alef, I'm going to break down into the collarbone. Next letter is Beta. I'm envisioning my opponent attacking me with a backhand strike. So I do a right V step as I parry the arm. I hit down on the wrist or the hand with my live hand, hit the forearm, hit the bicep. So V step, parry, hit the hand or the wrist, hit the forearm, hit the bicep. Next, I'll be using the letter Gamma, and I'll be using both the small and capital forms in that order. So moving in on the inside with the left V step, I diagonal down to the wrist. So I'm going to hit the wrist or forearm again, check, horizontal hit to the temple, vertical down on the bicep. Next move uses the capital Delta. So from the inside, I'm going to step off, and I'm going to hit down on the hand or the wrist. And I'm trying to move the arm out. Then I'm going to rip across the ribs, the stomach, anything that's out there, like the hand that might be coming at me, and then I'm going to thrust up into the left armpit, and then I'm going to re-follow that one line down, hitting the wrist. Next we have capital Epsilon. So from the outside, I'm going to parry along the arm. I'm going to smash down on the wrist or the hand, and then I'm going to thrust into the diaphragm or the sternum, and then I'm going to smash down onto the collarbone and into the bicep. This next disarmament uses the small Zita. I envision that my stick is down and my opponent is doing an overhead shot or a high thrust to my eyeball. So I'm going to step off line and do a wing block, punching up. This arm is going to clear it as I step in to the inside of this left leg and I smash down on the collarbone. Then I'm going to thrust into the iliopsis muscle between the thigh and the hip, and I'm going to twist my stick like this, the curl at the end of the Zita, to affect the throw. This next strike against the backhand strike from the outside uses the capital letter Eta. So I step off and I draw a horizontal strike along the forearm to the hand, and then I'm going to smash down on the wrist, check the arm. If it's available, I'm going to hit this bone, the outside, on the outside of the forearm. It's very painful. Even people with a high pain tolerance like Tuan Bill might have trouble with this one. If the bone isn't available because of how his arms turn, I can also hit down on the bicep instead. And because we get sloppy after we've been writing for a while, I'm going to have to redraw this line. I'm going to smash down on the collarbone into the bicep. Okay, this next striking pattern uses the letter theta. Now when we use the letter phi, it was a circle with a vertical line through it. Theta is a circle with a horizontal line through it. When we use phi, we envision that we were able to evade and use our alive hand to move the weapon and then go right into our strikes. This time we're going to envision that we've got to put something in the way. So we're going to use the horizontal line, but going this way to move the weapon, and then we're going to hit the arm, hit the arm. I did it from the inside because I haven't done any from the inside for a while, but I envisioned that this one could also be used from the outside. Well, this time I would horizontal this way, hit the arm, hit the arm. Next series of strikes combines two letters, Iota and Lambda. So from the inside, I'm going to start with Iota, which goes down and into a little hook. I'm going to smash down on the arm, go like that, and then I'm going to move it out, and then I'm going to stab up into the armpit, if it's available, if not the ribs, and then smash down on the bicep. Next letter is the Greek letter Kappa, which looks like our K's, and other than the size difference, there's not much difference, which should remind us that using striking patterns, how big or small we strike is going to affect where we hit. So from the outside, I'm going to draw a sideways Kappa, and I'm going to draw along the line to parry it as I check behind the elbow, and now I'm going to do my diagonal this way to the wrist as I push up behind the elbow to wrench the arm. This next one uses the capital mu, which is our capital letter M. So the strike comes, I'm going to step off line and parry and smash down on the clavicle. Then I'm going to hit the arm from the inside, hit the arm from the outside, check it, and smash down on this nice little bone here in the shoulder. This next one is the capital Nu. I'm going to write it a little bit messy. I'm going to put a bit of a slant on it, but it'll still be recognizable as the letter it is. So from the outside, I'm going to smash down diagonally on the hand, and then I'm going to smash down on the forearm or the outside bone of the elbow joint, and then I'm going to thrust up into the eye, and then I'm going to redraw the line, smashing down into the collarbone. Next one is the capital letter Chi, which looks like a capital E without the sidebar. So three lines going like this, but I'm going to flip them and I'm going to draw them this way. A lot of times we have to deal with a strike, with a block, a parry, whatever you want to call it. Sometimes if we are proactive or we're ahead of the game, we can get our shots in. So I'm anticipating this. Either I've evaded him or he's pulled back, and I'm going off to the outside. I'm going to smash down on the hand or the wrist, smash down on the forearm, and then I'm going to smash down through the collarbone and into the arm. Next we have the letter Omicron, which is like our letter O, both the capital and the small one. And we're going to use both of them. So I am going to step off line to the outside, and I'm going to smash down on the hand with a big O coming back around. Then I'm going to come around with my second one. I'm going to go around the arm with my hand and stick and come around to do a disarm. Now the first strike, I want to get it as close to the weapon as I can, and that may affect a disarm all on its own. And then I can just do two big O's to remind him not to bother me like this. In effect, even if he can still fight with his left arm, if I disarm him, I have done a partial disablement because I've taken away his weapon. This next series of strikes uses the Greek letter pi. We're going to use the capital version. There's not that much difference between capital and small pi except for a little curve on the end of the small one and also the size. Now, small pi is used in mathematics as a symbol that cannot be accurately written as a common fraction. And if you try to write it as a decimal fraction, it goes on and on and on. So hopefully we can remember and learn from that. The other thing we're going to do is remember that opponents sometimes don't cooperate, so I may want to disable that left arm, but the right may come in. So if his right comes in, I'm going to smash down on it, and then I'm going to hit across the temple, and then I'm going to smash down on his left arm, and I'm going to redraw the line. Hopefully the first two strikes will nullify him doing anything with that left arm until I can deal with it. And also it teaches us that we don't want to waste movement. So I smash down on this arm and I hit the head on the way by, and then I smash down and rewrite the line. This next striking pattern uses the capital letter Rho, which sounds like our letter R, at least the rough part, but it looks like our capital letter P. Doesn't really matter what it sounds like as long as the only sound we hear is us hitting the opponent and not the opponent hitting us. And if he hits the ground, that's a nice sound too. So from the inside, he thrusts. I'm going to evade, and I'm going to curve my weapon around to move his arm away from me. Then I'm going to rip up vertically on the hand as I check, and I'm going to smash down to redraw that line. So I'm smashing the hand twice. This next strike follows the lines of the capital letter sigma. Looks a bit like a sideways W. So I'm going to move to the outside, and I'm going to smash down on the hand, come up under the wrist, smash using checkings. I'm going to smash down on the forearm and up on the underside of the elbow or the tricep. This next striking pattern uses two capital taus, which look like our capital letter T. So from the outside, I'm going to make the top of the T along the outside of his arm with the middle of my weapon, and then checking, I'm going to smash down on the hand. So again, now I push his arm away, and I'm going to step in, and I'm going to ride up on his upper arm, jamming him, and then I'm going to do a horizontal abanico to the temple or the eye to make the top of the second T, and then I'm going to smash down on the collarbone into the arm. This next striking pattern looks like the letter Epsilon. First I'm going to use the small epsilon, which looks like our capital U, and then the capital epsilon, which looks like our capital Y. So I'm going to meet the strike from the inside, and I'm feeding with my other hand, and I'm going to curve around after I hit the wrist, so my stick is on the outside. Then I'm going to move in, and I'm going to smash down on that elbow bone that I like. I'm going to thrust up on the inside, trying to hit the crazy bone, and then I'm going to smash down on that bone from the inside. Now this is one of those patterns that if you had a knife, you could do a lot of with it as you're coming around the arm that you can't do with a stick. But we don't always get to choose what weapons we have. Okay, this next strike uses the letter phi, which is a circle with a vertical line drawn through it. And it also reminds us that we have two hands. So this time I'm going to evade a forehand strike and use my other hand and the footwork that I learned primarily off of Tuhan Bill's YouTube channel to parry the arm. Then I'm going to do my vertical strike down, and then I'm going to do my circle. I'm going to hit, and I'm going to hit it again. This next one comes from the letter chi, which is like our X, both the capital and the small one. So I'm envisioning the strike comes and I step back to evade it, and I hit the hand with the downward X, and then I come in and I hit the metacarpals, the hand again. Now I'm going to check the arm, and I'm going to hit the head, get the pause button, and then I'm going to hit the outside of the arm, the elbow. This next one uses the letter psi. Both capital and the small one look like a pitchfork, so just a difference in size. As long as we stick that fork in till he's done, we should be good to go. So this time I get caught on the inside, oops, and I'm going to smash down on the wrist, and I'm going to do my half circles of the pitchfork smashing down, and then I'm going to stab up into the forearm as I pull down, and just to make sure, I'm going to redraw that line. Okay, good news if you're still awake. We're on the last letter of the Greek alphabet, omega. I'm going to be using the capital omega, and I'm going to do it twice for omega 2. Now they say omega-3 is a vitamin that's good for you, but hopefully omega-2 won't be good for your opponent. This one is going to use the puño, and I'm going to make the feet longer than you normally do, which will probably get me in trouble with the writing teacher, but I've been used to that all my life. So the strike comes in, I'm going to evade and parry it into my puño, and I want to hit right where the wrist meets the hand if I can. And then I'm going to bring my stick out so I can clear it without getting cut as I feed down. Bring it back, give a shot to the metacarpals. I'm going to move in, and I'm going to, got to stay back so you can see, I'm going to move in, and I'm going to bring my stick underneath his arm, and I'm going to smash the puño into the funny bone. Then I'm going to circle around, and in effect I've got a kind of an arm lock here, and I smash here and take a little shot for the last one. So now you could argue that I used too many shots there, but I'm going to say that the circles weren't shots, just part of the movement. Okay, whatever happens with this, I'm sure there's going to be lots of good applicants. I want to thank Tuhan McGrath for this mental exercise, this challenge. Part of it, I think, came out of some conversation he had with me, and you always like when somebody thinks the same way, or you like to think they think the same way as you, especially somebody like him. If he's thinking like me, then maybe he wants to get some counseling, but thanks for putting this on.